So today's video is going to be a little different. This afternoon, as I'm getting off from work, I get a call from my son's school. There was a bomb scare, a bomb threat, I should say, in an elementary school. Now, I work real damn hard to live in a nice neighborhood. This school is located in a fairly affluent neighborhood where the average home price is between $300,000 and $500,000. When I arrived on the scene, Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department and Clark County School District Police were already on the scene trying to do crowd control because they were not letting the children out. Now, I want to give some comments and kudos to the staff of Ober Elementary in Las Vegas. Once again, through crisis control and crisis management, they handled themselves spectacularly. I want to give some props to Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department and the bomb squad. They again handled themselves spectacularly. And I want to give props to the teachers at Ober, not just the staff, the office staff. But once again, I want to talk about some interesting stuff because this came up in my conversation with one of these idiotic parents. First of all, people, if that situation, God forbid, ever arises at your children's school, do yourself a favor, listen to the police. There was one parent who chose not to take a lawful order, and I don't know what happened to her. But chances are, by trying to run into the school when she was told to step back, she was either tased or physically restrained. People like that are the reason they put instructions on shampoo and fucking t-shirts. So, don't be that idiot. Thanks. Now I want to read a piece that I wrote a couple of weeks ago. I think this kind of holds true today. It's not just about gun laws anymore, it's about in general. As someone who's fought evil, who's fought crazy, I can tell you one thing. Evil and crazy cannot be legislated. Evil and crazy do not care what laws we pass. They cannot be stopped in ways that polite society would. Pardon me 1 second. They want to examine. The polite society wants to examine ways that evil and crazy just don't get it. The only things that evil and crazy really understand are strength and force. If evil and crazy believe that they will be met with force, they will shy away, for they're inherently cowardly. If they were brave, they would engage people who are capable of fighting back, not small children or defenseless victims. The majority of mass murders, threats, bomb scares, they all occur within these gun-free, victim-full zones because, let's face it, crazy murderers and of the type, they won't be met with strength or force. They'll be met only with submission. Helpless and submissive victims attract evil and crazy. That's not to say that all children are helpless and submissive, but let's be honest, they're not going to defend themselves. Evil and crazy crave power and submission. This mantra of submission has somehow become the appropriate response that we're told, act like a sheep, and maybe the wolf will pick another. So we hide, we cower, we hope that crazy and evil will somehow pick someone else. And we just make it easier for evil and crazy to victimize us. Fighting back is all that makes sense, because that mantra is completely wrong. If evil and crazy are met with forceful resistance, their fantasy cannot be consummated. That's why in the vast majority of these circumstances and instances, they end up stopping and or killing themselves when confronted with someone who can actually fight back. When we begin to fight back, these incidents will begin to slow. The ones who commit these atrocities are never badasses. True badasses fight for others. They don't harm the innocent. They're weak, pathetic little weirdos. That's why they choose defenseless victims, so they can once in their life feel powerful. Forceful resistance will shut them down as they've not weaved the possibility of their disgusting fantasy. I'm sure that some of you will say this post was in rather poor taste. This video is in poor taste, I should say. But remember, I've gone and fought what you fear. I've used force to combat crazy and evil, and I understand that it's all too effective because I've seen violence. I look at things from a more clinical sense. Let's face it. I've stood over the body of a dead child and had to force myself not to cry, and this was before I even had a child. I had to harden myself years ago because you needed me to, so that I could protect you. I look at actual solutions. I don't live in a fantasy world where somehow passing laws and being helpless deters evil and crazy. Remember, people, murder and bomb threats, they're already against the law, and they do carry some of our stiffest penalties. Yet, sick weirdos just don't seem to obey that one, do they? Does any rational person really expect an evil and crazy person to obey a minor law against having too many rounds in their magazine, or a law prohibiting them from bringing a firearm or a bomb where they intend to commit mass murders? No rational person can possibly think those laws can be effective, yet we seem to insist upon them with predictable effect. Helpless and submissive victims for evil and crazy to prey upon. Humans have slaughtered and victimized each other since the dawn of time. Pretending that evil and crazy doesn't exist among us is akin to pretending that we live in a fucking Disney movie. It's idiotic and it denies simple human nature. If we outlaw one tool that evil and crazy happens to use, it won't stop them. It simply leaves everyone else defenseless against the evil and crazy. Blaming inanimate objects for a crazy and evil human is irrational. Looking for real ways to combat these horrendous acts is what makes sense. Sadly, we'll continue to blame everything but evil and crazy. We continue with the submission mantra because it's easier to claim that our world is not safe because of an inanimate object like a firearm or, a bomb or whatever. Oh, shut up, phone. Sorry. Just remember this. Instead of accepting the truth that we actually need to stand up to evil and crazy and not submit to it, I'd much rather die on my feet fighting to defend those around me than die on my knees hoping that the wolf picks another sheep. Now, I'm going to leave the last part out for the most part because it really pertains to what happened in Oregon a couple weeks ago. But some lives may have been affected by today's scare at the elementary school. Just know if your child is traumatized by this, as a parent, I do have thoughts and prayers for you. Thankfully, nobody was lost, no lives were lost, and it was a hoax. But I do know what it's like to lose someone to violence. So anyone that does lose someone to violence, you do have my deepest sympathies. If anyone thinks this video is in poor taste, know this. I'm doing my part to start people on a road to considering real solutions to evil and crazy, not feel-good legislation that provides more victims for evil and crazy to harm. I'm going to end this with something I like to call something interesting. Because this is part of the feel-good legislation, right? This is a firearm. It is loaded. There's one in the chamber and 15 rounds in the magazine. See? Hollow point rounds, just like the police carry. Kill someone. Do something, you stupid piece of shit. It's doing nothing. Kill somebody, you motherfucker. See, I'm even talking shit to it. It's doing nothing. Maybe evil and crazy is the problem and not the firearm or the bomb or, I don't know, the car or the bat or the hammer
or whatever else the evil and crazy person decides to use. I'm going to leave you with this tonight, people. Give your hearts to Jesus. Hug your loved ones tight. And know that God is with us all. As for these crazy people, stand up for yourself, because cowering under a desk is not as effective as that. Fighting back. Just remember that. Love you all. God bless. Good night. Brooklyn out.